My wife uploaded the photo while she was 35,000 feet in the air, sunset over the Caribbean, the sky glowing orange behind her and her best friend Rachel. Both of them had cocktails raised toward the camera, smiling like they were living inside a travel advertisement. The caption read, "Girls Trip Magic. Palm Tree." I was sitting alone in our kitchen in Minneapolis, scrolling through Instagram while finishing leftover Chinese takeout when the post appeared on my screen. At first, it looked perfect. Two happy friends, tropical water behind them, vacation smiles that seemed effortless. It was exactly the kind of photo people post when everything in their life looks great. Except there was one tiny detail that ruined everything. In the bottom corner of the picture, reflected in Rachel's mirrored sunglasses, I noticed something strange. A hand resting on my wife's shoulder. I leaned closer to the phone and zoomed in slowly. Gold watch, larger fingers, a man's hand. Definitely not Rachel's. My chopstick stopped halfway between the takeout container and my mouth as I stared at the screen. I didn't move for several seconds. It felt like I was looking at something dangerous, like a device that hadn't exploded yet but might at any moment. Then curiosity turned into something darker. I opened Kelsey's profile and began scrolling through every photo she had posted since the trip started. Day 1, a beach selfie taken shortly after they arrived. Behind them, blurred but still visible, was a tall figure standing near the shoreline, a man wearing swim trunks and a polo shirt. Not a hotel employee, too relaxed, too comfortable. Day 2, a dinner photo taken at sunset. 2 wine glasses clearly in front of Kelsey and Rachel, but further back on the table were 2 more glasses barely out of focus. The table looked like it had been set for 4 people instead of 2. Day 3, a poolside picture. Kelsey lying on a lounge chair with her beach bag half open beside her. I zoomed in again. Inside the bag was a men's watch. Gold, the same one I had just seen in the sunglasses reflection. My hands started to tremble. I opened the location sharing we had both turned on years ago. We had always said it was for safety, so we could check on each other if something ever happened. I had never actually used it before, until that moment. The little blue dot showed her at the Royalton Resort in Punta Cana. Then I opened her email account. We had shared an iPad at home for years, and she had never bothered logging out of her inbox. I typed Punta Cana into the search bar. The booking confirmation appeared instantly. Royalton Resort, 4 nights, room 847, Ocean View King Suite. King bed. Not 2 queens. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the screen. The clock on the wall ticked quietly. Her flight home would land in about 4 hours. I had a decision to make. I could wait for her to walk through the door, confront her face to face, and listen to whatever explanation she came up with. Maybe there was some explanation I hadn't thought of. Maybe there was a detail I was misunderstanding. Or I could do what my instincts were already telling me to do. I opened my contacts list and scrolled down until I found Richard Palmer, my father-in-law, the man who had walked Kelsey down the aisle 3 years earlier, the retired Marine who had shaken my hand at the reception and said, "You heard her vows, now you answer to me." I attached the 4 screenshots, the sunset photo with the reflection, the beach photo with the man in the background, the dinner photo showing 4 glasses, the pool photo with the gold watch in the bag. Then I typed a single sentence. "I think you should see these before she lands." My thumb hovered over the send button for several seconds. If you want to know what happened when a father saw proof that his daughter was cheating just hours before she returned home ready to lie about it, hit subscribe, because what Richard did next made her wish she had never posted that photo. My name is Tyler Morrison. I'm 34 years old and I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I work as a software engineer for a mid-sized tech company. My job is mostly remote. I work from home 3 days a week and go into the office the other 2. By most standards, my life is pretty ordinary. Stable job, comfortable house, predictable routine. My wife Kelsey is 32. She works in pharmaceutical sales, which means her job revolves around quotas, networking events, and constant travel to conferences and client meetings. We met several years ago at a mutual friend's wedding. She was the maid of honor, I was one of the groomsmen. We spent most of the night talking and dancing, and by the end of the reception, we had exchanged phone numbers. 3 months later, we were basically inseparable. We got married in 2021 in a small ceremony surrounded by close friends and family. Afterward, we took our honeymoon in Costa Rica. We still talk about that week sometimes. Beaches, rainforest hikes, late-night dinners by the ocean. We both said it was the best vacation we had ever taken. For the first 3 years of marriage, I believed we were solid. We had our little traditions. Sunday mornings meant pancakes and coffee together. Wednesday nights, we walked down to the local brewery for trivia with friends. Once a month, we scheduled a date night where we tried a new restaurant and jokingly pretended we were professional food critics. We talked about kids someday. Not immediately, but eventually. We talked about saving money, buying a bigger house, planning for the future.
At least I thought we were building the same future. Apparently, she was reading a completely different story. The girls' trip had been Kelsey's idea from the beginning. She had been mentioning it for months. Her best friend Rachel had recently gone through a difficult breakup, and Kelsey wanted to help cheer her up. "Just 4 days," she said one evening while we were sitting on the couch. "Punta Cana, beach, drinks, relaxation. Rachel really needs the distraction." I told her it sounded like a great idea. She deserved the break. "Are you sure?" she asked. "It's kind of expensive." "You work hard," I said. "Go enjoy yourself." She leaned over and kissed me. "You're the best." I even helped her pack before she left. Sundresses, swimsuits, sunscreen, sandals. She seemed excited in a way I hadn't seen for a while. At the airport, she hugged me tightly. "I'm going to miss you," she said. I smiled. "I'll miss you too. Have fun and be safe." "I will. Love you." "Love you too." I watched her disappear through the security line, pulling her bright pink suitcase behind her. I drove home feeling happy for her, thinking she deserved a few carefree days with her best friend. That feeling lasted exactly 4 days. The first picture appeared on Instagram on the second day of the trip. Kelsey and Rachel standing on the beach at sunset with drinks in their hands. The caption said, "Needed this." I liked the post and commented, "Beautiful. Miss you." Heart emoji. She liked my comment a few minutes later. The third day brought another post. This one was taken beside the pool. Same relaxed smiles, same vacation energy. The caption read, "Living our best lives." I commented again, but this time she never responded. I assumed she was busy enjoying herself. Then came the fourth day, the photo that changed everything. Sunset cocktails, Kelsey and Rachel smiling into the camera. Caption, "Girls trip magic." Palm tree. I had been scrolling through Instagram absent-mindedly while eating leftovers when I noticed it. The reflection in the sunglasses. A man's hand, gold watch, resting comfortably on my wife's shoulder. I set the fork down slowly and zoomed in again. There was no doubt about it. That hand belonged to a man. I stared at the screen, trying to convince myself there was some harmless explanation. Maybe a waiter stepped into the frame, maybe someone nearby accidentally appeared in the reflection, but something inside me already knew the truth. So I began going back through every photo she had posted during the trip. Day 1, the beach selfie with the blurred man standing behind them near the water. Day 2, the dinner picture with 4 wine glasses instead of 2. Day 3, the pool lounger photo where the gold watch sat inside her bag. I took screenshots of everything. Then I did something I had never done in our entire relationship. I opened her email. She had logged into it on our shared iPad years ago and never signed out. I had never checked it before because I had never needed to. I searched for Punta Cana. The confirmation email appeared instantly. Royalton Resort, 4 nights, room 847, Ocean View King Suite. King bed. I kept scrolling. Another confirmation email from the same booking site. Same dates, room 849. Also a king bed. 2 rooms side by side. 4 people. 2 couples. I leaned back in my chair slowly as the realization settled over me. Kelsey and Rachel weren't on a girls' trip at all. They were on a couple's vacation, and I wasn't one of the couples. That night, I didn't sleep at all. I lay in our bed, staring up at the ceiling while my thoughts ran in circles. Maybe Rachel had brought someone and didn't tell anyone. Maybe the watch belonged to a stranger. Maybe I was overreacting. But every time I closed my eyes, I saw that reflection again. Eventually, I opened the location sharing app. The little blue dot showing Kelsey's phone was still sitting in Punta Cana at the Royalton Resort. I zoomed in as far as it would allow. Room 847. I looked at the time. It was 3:47 a.m. in Minneapolis. That meant it was 3:47 a.m. where she was. She was probably asleep in a king bed with someone who wasn't me. I got out of bed and walked around the house. At 3 in the morning, I made coffee because sleep was clearly not happening. I opened the photos again and studied every detail I could find. Eventually, my attention returned to the man in the beach photo. I zoomed in as far as the resolution allowed. Tall, dark hair, fit build, expensive sunglasses. Something about him looked familiar. Then I realized where I had seen the watch before. Not in person, in another photo. I opened Facebook and went to Kelsey's profile, scrolling through older posts until I found one from about 6 months earlier. A work conference in Chicago. A group photo with her entire sales team. There he was, back row, third from the left. Same watch, same smile. The tag under the photo read, Brandon Mitchell. I clicked his profile. Pharmaceutical sales, same company as Kelsey, based in Denver. Relationship status, single. I kept scrolling through his photos. Gym pictures, hiking trips, group dinners with coworkers. 3 months back, there was a picture from a restaurant. Several people from their team sitting around a table laughing. Kelsey was in the background. Brandon's caption said, Best team in the business. Kelsey had liked the photo. So had Rachel.
I leaned back slowly, the pieces fitting together in a way I couldn't ignore anymore. This wasn't spontaneous. It wasn't accidental. It had been planned. Maybe I should have waited. Maybe I should have confronted her calmly when she came home and listened to whatever explanation she had prepared. But in 4 hours, she was going to walk through the front door smiling like nothing had happened. She was going to hug me, tell me how much she missed me, and show me photos from her girls' trip. She was going to lie. And I realized I couldn't sit there and pretend not to know. So I made a decision. I opened my contacts list and scrolled down to Richard. Richard Palmer, Kelsey's father, 62 years old, retired Marine, the kind of man who still woke up early every morning to do push-ups and drink black coffee while reading the news. He had walked Kelsey down the aisle at our wedding and shook my hand afterward. You heard her vows, he told me. Now you answer to me. Not a threat, a promise. I had respected him ever since. Now I was about to find out exactly how serious that promise was. I attached the 4 photos, the reflection shot, the beach picture with the man, the dinner table with 4 glasses, the poolside bag with the watch. Then I typed one sentence. I think you should see these before she lands. My thumb hovered above the send button. Once I pressed it, there would be no undoing it. Richard would know the truth, and whatever happened next would no longer be in my control. I thought about Kelsey, the woman I had married, the person I believed I would spend the rest of my life with, the same woman who was currently in a hotel room with another man. I pressed send. The message delivered. I set the phone down and waited. Richard called 6 minutes later. I was still sitting at the kitchen table staring at my phone when it rang. His name lit up the screen. I answered. Hello, Tyler. His voice was tight, controlled. Are these real? Yes, sir. Silence then. Where is she right now? Her flight lands at 3 p.m. She'll be home by 4:30. And she doesn't know you know. No, sir. Another pause. I could hear him breathing, steady, measured. I'm coming over, he said. I'll be there at 4. Richard, you don't have to. Yes, I do. The line went dead. I sat there,
phone in hand, and realized what I'd just set in motion. I didn't hear from Kelsey all morning. No texts, no calls, nothing. Her location showed she was at the airport in Punta Cana, then 2 hours later in the air. I tracked the flight, on time, landing at 3:07 p.m. At 2 p.m., I got a text from Richard. On my way. At 3 p.m., Kelsey's plane landed. At 3:45, her location started moving. She was in an Uber heading home. At 3:52, Richard's truck pulled into our driveway. He got out, jeans, flannel shirt, work boots. His face was stone. He walked up to the door. I opened it before he could knock. Tyler. Richard. We stood there for a moment. Then he stepped inside. She know I'm here? No. He nodded, looked around the living room, the photos on the wall, the wedding picture on the mantel. You got coffee? Yeah. We poured 2 cups, sat at the kitchen table. Neither of us spoke. We just waited. At 4:23 p.m., I got a text from Kelsey. Just landed, grabbing my bag. Be home soon. Heart. I didn't respond. Richard saw my face. That her? Yeah. He took a sip of coffee, set the mug down. You ready for this? I don't know. You did the right thing, he said, calling me. Did I? Yeah. He looked at me. Because if you'd confronted her alone, she would have lied. She would have cried. She would have made you feel like you were crazy. He tapped the table. This way, she can't. I heard a car pull up outside. Richard heard it too. We both stood. The front door opened. Tyler, I'm home. Kelsey's voice, bright, happy. She walked into the kitchen, pulling her pink suitcase, ponytail swinging. She saw me, smiled. Then she saw her father. The smile died. Dad? Richard didn't say anything. Kelsey looked at me, then back at him. What's going on? I pulled out my phone, opened the photos, slid it across the table. You tell me. She looked at the screen. I watched the color drain from her face. Tyler, I don't... Richard said. His voice was quiet, but it cut like a blade. Kelsey's eyes filled with tears. Dad, please, it's not... Not what? Richard's voice didn't rise, didn't waver. Not what it looks like? She opened her mouth, closed it. Because it looks like you went on a trip with another man. It looks like you lied to your husband. It looks like you posted photos to make him think you were with Rachel when you were actually with someone else. Is that not what happened? Silence. Kelsey looked at me, tears streaming down her face. Tyler, please let me explain. Explain what? I asked. My voice was calm, too calm. Explain the hand on your shoulder. Explain the king bed. Explain Brandon. She flinched at his name. You know who he is. Not a question. She nodded, barely. How long, Tyler? How long, Kelsey? Her voice broke. 6 months. 6 months. Half a year. While I was making her pancakes on Sunday mornings, while we were playing trivia on Wednesday nights, while I was talking about buying a house and having kids, she was with him. Richard stood up, walked to the window, looked out at the street. I raised you better than this, he said. Not to me, to her. Kelsey sobbed. Dad, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to happen. You didn't mean for it to happen? Richard turned. You booked a trip. You lied about who you were with. You posted photos to cover your tracks. That's not something that happens. That's something you plan. She had no answer. Richard looked at me. What do you want to do? I looked at Kelsey, at the woman I'd married, the woman I'd loved, the woman who just spent 4 days in paradise with another man. I want her to leave, I said. Kelsey's head snapped up. Tyler, no! Please, we can fix this.
There's nothing to fix, I said. You made your choice.
Now I'm making mine. Tyler, pack a bag, I said. Stay with your parents, stay with Rachel, stay with Brandon for all I care, but you're not staying here. She looked at Richard. Dad, please. You heard him, Richard said. Pack a bag. She went upstairs. Richard and I stood there in the kitchen, listening to drawers open and close. You okay? He asked. No, I said. But I will be. He nodded. You need anything, you call me. Thank you, I mean it. Lawyer, moving help, someone to drink with, you call. I will. Kelsey came back down, suitcase in hand, eyes red. She looked at me one more time. I'm sorry. I didn't respond. She looked at her father. Dad? Go, he said. She left. The door closed behind her. Richard and I stood there in the silence. You did the right thing, he said again. Doesn't feel like it. It will. He left an hour later. I sat alone in the house. Our house, the one we'd made a home. I looked at the wedding photo on the mantel, the two of us smiling, surrounded by family. I took it down, put it in a drawer. Then I called a lawyer. The divorce took 4 months. Kelsey tried to fight it at first, wanted counseling, wanted to work through it. I didn't. Her lawyer tried to argue for alimony. Mine brought up the affair. In Minnesota, adultery doesn't automatically disqualify you from alimony, but it doesn't help, especially when there's photo evidence. We settled. She got her car, her retirement account, and half the savings. I got the house. She moved to Denver to be closer to Brandon, I assumed. I didn't ask, didn't care. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I got a message on Facebook from Rachel. Tyler, I'm sorry. I should have told you. I didn't know how. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back. You knew. You went with her. You helped her lie. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. You're right. I'm sorry. I blocked her. A year later, I was doing okay. Not great, but okay. I'd started therapy, started working out, started saying yes to things I'd been putting off. I went on a few dates. Nothing serious, but it felt good to remember I was still a person outside of that marriage. I sold the house. Too many memories. Bought a condo downtown. Smaller. Simpler. Mine. Richard and I still talked. He'd call every few weeks, check in. You doing all right? Yeah, I'm good. Good. You need anything? I know. I'll call. He was a good man. Better than I deserved. Better than his daughter deserved, too. I ran into Kelsey once at a coffee shop. She was with Brandon, laughing, holding hands. She saw me. The laughter stopped. I nodded, kept walking. I didn't feel anger, didn't feel sadness. I felt nothing. And that felt like progress. People ask me sometimes if I regret sending those photos to Richard, if I regret not confronting Kelsey first, giving her a chance to explain. I don't, because here's the thing. She had 4 days to tell me the truth. 4 days to call me from that hotel room and say, Tyler, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. She didn't. She posted photos. She lied. She came home planning to keep lying. And if I had confronted her alone, she would have spun it. She would have cried. She would have made me feel like I was overreacting. But with Richard there, she couldn't. She had to face the truth. And so did I. The truth is this. I didn't lose a wife that day. I lost an illusion. The woman I thought I married didn't exist. She was a story, I told myself. A version of her I wanted to believe in. The real Kelsey was someone who could lie to my face for 6 months. Someone who could plan a trip with another man and post photos to cover her tracks. Someone who valued her own happiness more than our marriage. And once I saw that, really saw it, there was no going back. So yeah, I sent those photos to her father before she landed. I didn't wait for her to come home and lie to me. I didn't give her the chance to spin the story. I took control of the narrative, and I don't regret it, because the alternative was living in a marriage built on lies, and I'd rather be alone than be a fool. If you've ever been there, if you've ever seen something you weren't supposed to see, if you've ever had your gut scream at you that something's wrong, trust it. Don't wait for permission to protect yourself. Don't wait for them to confess, because they won't. They'll lie. They'll cry. They'll make you feel crazy for even asking. But your gut knows. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is listen to it. Hit subscribe if this one hit home. Comment, I trusted my gut if you've been there. because the truth doesn't need permission to be true. It just needs someone brave enough to face it.